That was videotape of the Gorky Park concert as it appeared on Soviet television. And that was you, Zubin, conducting an orchestra, some of whose members I recognize from this stage, not all. Tell me what you were conducting and how it all came about.
Well, this was probably the high point of all the touring that this orchestra has done during the summer. The concert in Gorky Park in Moscow, together with the orchestra of the Cultural Ministry, conducted by Rozhdestvensky, and you see the conductor next to me. We divided the concert. The New York Philharmonic and the Russian orchestra played together on stage for this public, and what I'm saying there in Russian is that I hope, this makes a great cultural tie, and this bespeaks this whole atmosphere that's going on between America and Russia today, and it was said in music in June already.
And you met Armenian musicians, and that set in motion.
There are lots of Armenian musicians in the Russian orchestra, sure. We have grown up with Armenian musicians. From my childhood in Vienna, there are always musicians have Armenians. My father studied with an Armenian teacher in New York, Galamian, the greatest violin teacher in America.
Mother.
Yes?
Her voice teacher
was Armenian, yes.
Okay.
That's why we feel so close to this whole tragedy just now, and we are making an appeal to the orchestra. I've written to the board, to the public. Just please give this. This whole country is in ruin. It's not even one city.
Well, when I look at that event and the response of this orchestra, and back to what you did so spectacularly in the case of the Mexican earthquake, I have to ask if there's something extraordinary about the position of music as an international instrument of communication, and your position as international musicians that places you in an advantageous position to provoke public response and official response.
Absolutely.
In the case of a tragedy.
But I think that it is one of the, if you can call positive sides, is that the reaction of the people is immediate when you appeal to them. And, in the case of Mexico it was that way. And because being music, the international language, everybody goes, and in that moment of the tragedy, in all the countries, everybody really give their best. And at the right moment, I know that now that Zubin is making the appeal, I'm sure that everybody will react the same way.
And you're going to give a concert later
absolutely,
on?
We're going to make a concert in Carnegie Hall on the 21st of February for the cause, so I hope the public will already know. And but as Zubin said, it's even more important than the concert itself is what everybody feels to do, directly. Because
you can see how you can cut through or get to the grand public very readily because they all know you. Are you also able, do you think, to cut through some of the red tape in the official structures and facilitate aid moving more swiftly because of your position as an international musical star?
I think we can. If we start something, always there is press and there are the people is interested, the media. So that makes things easy, because all the people that need responsible, the authorities, they react immediately.
We've been through an incredible year of tragedies, and why we want to talk about this just now is this joyous occasion that is celebrated tonight, and everybody is so up, and we are up on the stage too, but one shouldn't forget that there are a lot of people living in the world today that are just completely downtrodden and that need attention. Attention is very important.
You two are men who both jump on intercontinental aircraft the way other people take a taxi and slip into a different language the way other people put the first pair of shoes on. And I wonder if you tell me what you can about the new sense that I think I detect around the world of the possibility and the urgency of collaboration amongst the nations. Are you feeling that as you travel?
Well, especially in the case of Armenia, I heard Gorbachev speaking this evening, his address to the nation in Soviet Union, and he acknowledges the world community's efforts to help his country. And that's a precedent that we haven't heard. And that's wonderful.
What do you think is causing this?
For me, I think that we should be all aware, and I think the people, human beings, we are able to really love our neighbor. Most of the time, in any case, if there are no big differences, which we all know in certain people. But the important thing is that I think sometimes is the power that creates these situations, and sometimes even worse, I mean, some of the small confrontations, some of the small wars, and they start small and they are so big, is the people that make themselves rich, selling weapons, selling arms. So this is what it is ridiculous. The world should really cry and should really say, stop it. We don't want any kind that is enough already with the tragedies that we had and that are sent by God, you know. So we don't need the other ones, and we know what we are talking about.
Let me ask you about another kind of collaboration, namely the collaboration between conductor and soloist. In a concert like tonight's, watching you two work this morning was a bit like watching a pas de deux in a ballet.
Well,
you're working to each other so
we
closely.
hardly need to rehearse. It just happens, everything so naturally, because he is a conductor's singer. He is a
And a
dream.
singer's conductor.
He is every conductor's dream, the conductor. And I mean,
Well, I think our collaboration, it comes already for many years. Since one of my first recordings, it was with Zubin, the Trovatore, and we did the production at the Met many years ago. And it's a pleasure always whenever we are together around the world, and especially here, you know, with his orchestra and in this special occasion.
Sometimes, indeed, though, there must be conflicts. I mean, I saw you going over the score this morning, working something out in, was it
well, because
Granada?
these were new arrangements, etc.
Who's the boss? That's what I want to know. Are you still the chef d'orchestre?
Always the conductor
You
is
see,
the
he doesn't
boss.
agree with you.
Silly.
Because if he doesn't want, I mean, if he doesn't help you,
Yes,
you know,
yes, yeah.
you are right there.
You saw how many times I stood on the podium and did that to him.
But it is a collaboration. I mean, it is absolutely collaboration. I think among musicians it's a collaboration, you know.
Plácido understands 2 bars before what I'm thinking of, and I think I know what he's going to do. Therefore, it's just there's no problem.
You are supposed to have said that he is so musical that he gives you the upbeat with his voice. What's that mean?
He does that from the stage. We did Othello together last year in Vienna, and Plácido knows how to sing at rehearsals. He knows the important phrases that the conductor needs. He knows the tempo change phrases. Otherwise, he lays low when things are going, you know, when the music is flowing, and he lets you know at the right moment, the right accent, and there's no problem.
I don't want to make trouble for you with any other conductors, but you are supposed to have said that you are especially secure with Zubin Mehta.
Yes, absolutely, because he knows
sings,
the voices.
wait. He sings with the world's greatest conductors. There's no question. And let that whole thing.
But I
know, but I
of
think
course.
he's taking a great risk to
I
sing.
have-
Don't be provocative.
No, I have people that I love very dearly, and especially, and one of them is really Zubin, and he knows it very well. And because he really makes music.
Now we have to go and prove it. In the
Yes,
second,
now we have to
second
prove
half.
it.
But tell me, what is happening as I watched you this morning in the rehearsal when you were putting your heads together over the score? And some music you obviously both know extremely well, but there was a little bit of give and take going on.
Well, there is always a conversation, but as Zubin said,
Every 4 bars, there's a give and take.
yes, this music, some of them there are new arrangements, so we have to see.
Much of the music that we're hearing tonight is very familiar, and you're not asking the audience to listen to something that's difficult and unexpected. Where's the greatest challenge for the soloist, for example, in dealing with the old familiar stuff, or in putting over something that the audience has perhaps never heard before, and you have to establish new terrain?
I think one is as difficult as the other, you know. When you have the usual things, the things that everybody knows, they sound easy, but they are difficult, and the public, they want the best. And when they have something new, it has to be exciting, you know.
But you know, he is too humble. But at any given opera, a tenor or a soprano has mostly 2 or 3 real arias where they put their whole vocal concentration. Apart from the personaggio and before, they sing a lot of ensembles, they read duets, trios, etc. But a concert like this, where he sings about 8 different pieces, that's for him basically vocally like singing 2 or 3 operas.
It is, in fact, it is. Doesn't matter how light it might sound, you know. It is the tessiture is right there, and you are singing more than what
Because
you
in
do
every opera, these are the high points for him.
Does that also mean that you have to change your mindset as you're moving from, say, La Traviata to the
Feelings,
Lehar to...
Yeah. But today we have much more, the stuff we have today is positive. We are not singing tragedies tonight.
No, we are trying to make only happy music.
This duet from Mascagni, this is
Yes.
very positive music.
Yes. Well, we're going to let you go because you
Okay.
have to
Then
prepare and rest.
Like the Eroica of Beethoven. There's nothing to take away.
Never too many notes, as they said in Amadeus.
Except with Mozart and Beethoven, we don't change the ensemble too much.
But in the waltz, as we hear, I mean, I can hum a waltz and I'll get the melody and I'll know what I'm talking or what I'm singing about, and so would you probably even. But with that big orchestra, there is a tremendous number of different voices. How many? I mean, if you count in all the percussion.
Strauss is polyphonically very sophisticated. You know, Brahms was a great admirer of Johann Strauss. Johann Strauss's wife once went to Brahms for an autograph. Brahms wrote out the first bars of the Blue Danube and signed, "Unfortunately not by Johannes Brahms." Strauss should not be underestimated. It's just played too much. Played probably not very well sometimes. Sort of chewed up. But when you play it in the classical manner, it is a great composer.
Zubin, you're going into, I don't know if it's your 11th year with this orchestra, but you've had a tremendous tenure here. And I found myself wondering during the rehearsals again, what do you do besides conduct the orchestra on the podium? What music director's week composed of?
A week?
Yeah, or a month. What is the range of activities that
Perpetual
you go through?
motion, which includes a lot of study.
Learning scores?
Revising. After being 26 or 27 years in front of an orchestra, let's say, the revising is even more important because we do repeat constantly now. At my stage, I learn new scores every once in a while, but it is the retaking of the score, the rethinking.
Reinterpreting?
Well, rethinking brings out sometimes a reinterpretation.
But what's going on?
A basis sometimes changes. You suddenly discover things, my God, why didn't I think about this before? Etc.
What's going on between you and the composer at that point?
And you know, something's changed at rehearsals too. You can sit at home and solve a certain musical problem. You come in front of the orchestra, it doesn't work always. Therefore, you have to be flexible enough and humble enough also to say, okay, let's try another one.
Well,
I have great respect for my colleagues in this orchestra, and many times I get suggestions which are very valuable. And I've been doing that since my first days, even in Los Angeles and Montreal. I conducted musicians who were extremely experienced when I first came in as a 25 or 26-year-old conductor. And a lot of them gave me advice, sometimes unsolicited.
Well, they are waving at you from the background now, and I think we're over.
Ready for Strauss.
Wish you well for Strauss and for 1989.
You too, Patrick. Pleasure. Don't come to rehearsals. You notice too many things.
And the music by Strauss, for which we're just about ready, is the waltz Voices of Spring.